I chose arranged marriage because when you don't know a person up front and you start dating them, sometimes things don't work out well. In arranged marriage, you're told everything up front.
We had put up the words around the community and some of the friend circles and told them that the Gaurav is grown up and we are looking for a girl.
We went to India and we met in a hotel, and Gaurav talked to her in private for half an hour or so. And Gaurav said that yes, he liked the girl.
At first when we met, it was we were both nervous. We didn't know what we were going to say to each other. As soon as we sat down, I told her honestly about myself. This is, you accept me for who I am. Otherwise, tell me right now if you don't accept me.
I thought he was really nice. I thought he was really sweet, and I thought he was smart.
She left her family in India, so we are his mother and her mother and father right now.
The day she landed here, I told her that now, from today onwards, I have 3 daughters instead of 2.
I really liked it when I moved here. I find our family is very, very nice. I like my family a lot.
People look at arranged marriage and they have stereotypes. You can't eradicate that. Some people think the way they want to think. And some people it's odd. They say that why go to India and marry when you can marry here? Vice versa. Why should I marry here when I can go to India?
Sometimes, as a human, we do say that we are doing all this arranged marriage, but if you go in spirituality, you will see that these marriages are actually decided in heaven.
Now, I love how they met for half an hour, and right after that, they just decided, yep, you're right for me and I'm right for you, and that's that. They make that commitment to each other, and then there's no wavering. And I mean, obviously it's not like that in any of my relationships, but maybe that's something that we can adapt into our cultures, because there's obviously pros to arranged marriages as well.
There are pros, and those who partake in arranged marriages, usually they have a very big support system with their families, because arranged marriage is 2 families getting together as opposed to 2 individuals. Right. So the thing is, if there are any issues in the marriage, then you have 2 people from both families trying to make things work for them.
Now, what happens if you don't want to have this arranged marriage? What if your parents are pressuring you and you're in love with somebody else, and you know, how do you get out of that situation? It must be very tricky.
First of all, if you're not a supporter of arranged marriage, don't have one. Stand tall with your parents and say that I don't want this. Because the thing is, if you're not supportive of arranged marriage and you get into arranged marriage, there's so much resentment that comes up, and your spouse might be very nice, but the thing is, the resentment of not wanting to be or not having the freedom to choose really kills a marriage.
Oh, and it might, just put a kind of a blocker up, this wall.
That's right.
And not to mention, if you're bringing someone over from another country to come and live here in Canada, and they leave their family, and it doesn't work out, we were speaking about a certain couple this morning, they're here by themselves.
Yes.
What do they do after that?
Well, see, the thing is, when you marry someone from another country and you bring them over here and they don't have any family or friends here, they're isolated. And so the thing is, they become dependent on the spouse. And the thing is, even if they want to leave, they have nowhere else to go.
Right.
So the thing is, that sends into resentment and perhaps depression. And when you have a couple of kids along the way as well, it just doesn't make for a happy environment.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be something easy to do. I mean, even if you, I know I've spent time, I don't want to say the States, but in Germany, there's culture shock. It doesn't matter when you're going from country to country, even if it seems similar to here, there's different things that people have to face and that different marital couples have to face. Well, we're going to be back in just a little bit. We're going to talk about some sexual taboos and the importance of virginity.
Welcome back to Help TV. Today on the show, we're looking at issues of sex and sexuality across cultures. And we were asking Canadians right on the street about changing attitudes towards sex in a variety of cultures. And it's certainly true. especially in a society like ours where there is so much access to information through not only reading and talk shows and so forth, but obviously the internet. It's a lot more easy for people to get the information they need. Sometimes they might make choices we don't like, but other times at least they have the information that they want.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think the more we hear about it and the more we see about it, then maybe we're more comfortable to talk about it. And that makes it not such a serious issue, although sex is very serious. But some things, you just have to look at it with more of an open mind and realize that they're happening, so we might as well accept that they're happening and figure out how to deal with them or that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'll get back to my guest, Dr. Sahukhan. He's a sex therapist with multicultural issues, and now we're going to talk about the importance of virginity in some cultures.
Yes. Well, in the West, we look at sex as a functional part of our dating ritual. You need to test drive the car before you buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get stuck with a lemon. But in many ethnic cultures, premarital sex is taboo. It's forbidden. And those who go against it are many times ostracized from the family, from the culture, from the community.
Wow.
Yes.
And so what happens, well, you just said, but if the woman isn't a virgin,
yes.
If a couple comes to you and the woman isn't a virgin and the man wants, what happens?
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
I've had many clients in that similar situation where the woman is not a virgin, but the thing is the man that she wants to marry is ethnic and expects her to be a virgin. So many times, some of the couples who have come to me after doing this, what they've done is a couple of them have reconstructed their hymen as a way to go to that extreme to prove that they're a virgin. Many of them have taken these Hollywood type of blood fake capsules, and during first intercourse with their husband, they've popped it.
That's how serious it is.
That's how serious it is, just to prove that they're a virgin, because they're so afraid that they will not be accepted. So what I do is, first of all, I believe in honest, open, non-judgmental communication.
Right.
Tell the man before you marry him, tell him that in the West, people date, and most people who date have had sex.
Right.
And then tell him that, hopefully the man appreciates her honesty and bravery, courage in telling him this to go ahead with the marriage. But if he doesn't, well, it's better to find out now than after 5 years and 2 kids later.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
And what ends up happening, do you find that a lot of the times that because we're more open in society these days that the man will have an open mind, or is a lot of times it's just kind of like, nope, sorry?
It's amazing how integrated and how in-depth the culture is ingrained into many ethnic societies. So most people, without any type of explanation, they go back to their culture. Right. So it's human nature. When we're anxious about some topic, we find comfort in our culture. So they go back to the culture which says, do not marry someone who's already has a past.
Interesting, very interesting. Well, unfortunately, I have to switch notes. I know we could talk all show about these subjects, but let's talk a little bit about masturbation and the taboos against that. Because you go back into the past, it's always in any culture been some, don't do it, it's bad, it's whatever else, and our minds are hopefully changing.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of masturbation. Sex has been historically for procreation, so anything that is a waste of sperm is taboo, is not accepted by the church.
Right.
And so what happened is, in the 18th century, there's a Swiss physicist called Alfred Tissot who came up with a degeneration theory that said that it takes 7 drops of blood to make 1 drop of semen, and therefore by wasting semen by masturbating, you're depriving yourself of vital fluids, which leads to anything from mental insanity to hairy palms and to acne to et cetera, et cetera. But 1 century later, in the 19th century, we had John Kellogg's of Kellogg's cornflakes. Okay, he came up with his Kellogg's cornflakes for the main reason, and he promoted it as anti-masturbation food because